Should we get
Is this
started?
another thing where I just get this piece of paper and it's like we're talking?
No, yeah. Well, let me get situated. So look.
Braden does a good job of these
Okay.
outlines.
Huh?
Braden does a good job of these outlines.
Yeah.
Do we really need an intro? Jim, Chuck. That's us.
Jim, Chuck. I'm Chuck Polly, owner of Milton Motorsports. No, ready? Let's get started. So this is our second podcast, Chuck.
Yes.
First one was very well received. I think we got over 2 million views, something like that.
It's still upcoming. We need to lock
Oh,
that door.
yeah,
Hold on. Let's restart.
That's right. No, it's okay.
You want to lock it?
No, we're in the middle. If the audience only saw what was behind the camera.
Yeah, we
And where
cooked
we
out
are
the
actually
entire
sitting.
store. There's open pickles, there's brats, there's
Smells like
yeah,
from the
exactly.
food.
Literally,
And there's customers
all
walking through. Yes, no. We're celebrities.
yeah.
That's how it works. No, yeah. So second podcast. First one did get some good reviews and comments. That was
Yeah,
kind of cool.
I got more people reaching out to me like, "Hey, that was really good," because I thought it would be well received, at least for the
topic.
The topic,
Right.
But getting people out on track, because I would have loved that podcast when we were starting out to say
Totally.
like, where do we start? We do owe the viewers some links and stuff and the open track stuff, but
Yeah.
we've
that's right.
gotten really caught up on a ton of builds because this is like our busiest season at getting ready for
Yeah.
Road America and getting all the cars out there. But we'll follow up with some.
Motorsport.reg,
stuff.
open track. I called open track today
Okay. Yeah.
for insurance on my car. So I'll save that
So
code for later.
Yeah.
But I have insurance on all my
For your
cars.
Miata?
I'll
That
just
you
leave
just
it at
bought?
that.
For your Miata?
Yeah, for my Miata.
If you buy a Miata, I will.
No,
I will close down.
I could buy a
Motorsports.
Miata for the insurance.
Here we go, right into ripping on Miatas again.
Miata was one of the top 5 cars ranked by Motor Trend for 2023, I think.
No,
Was it?
MX. Is MX-5 a Miata?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It is?
Miata.
It's the same car.
Yeah, so
I don't
like,
follow that.
who are we? Who are we?
All right, we're jumping ahead.
No, I'm just saying we're jumping all over the place. But no, I think we got great comments. Not all were family, but they were
Yeah.
most of her family.
Exactly.
But we did get some good comments. I think it's a cool subject, right? It's we're talking about. We believe in this. We're passionate about it. We're passionate about performance, and we want to get folks out to the track to drive their cars as they are intended, no matter what make or model. And we won't harp on that. But
Exactly.
I think today's purpose of this podcast is to just kind of continue that conversation a little bit further. A little bit, maybe get a little more personal about our own experiences on the track. And, as we've grown as drivers from, you've articulated from the shenanigans on the streets early on to, more organized professional track days. Clearly, I feel like I've gotten to be a much better driver
yeah.
from where I was to where I am today, and still a ton more room to improve.
Yeah.
I think one of my goals for this year is I would like to have an instructor again, like a
We
really
have-
advanced instructor. So
well, we
are you
have-
around to
See,
sit
exactly.
to passenger seat?
No. That's the only thing is like we're still both in the advanced group.
Yeah, so we can't.
I'm always out there. Like you
Right.
could just follow me.
Right. I don't know.
Just follow me.
I don't know. We have folks looking at track.
We do have Billy Johnson coming out to our private track day,
That could be good.
so that'll
That
be a
could
good experience. He's one of the guys that helped develop.
I just need a
GT.
birdie on my shoulder to help me get outside of my own comfort zone a little bit.
You have
I think I'm a little
Angel
bit too
Devil.
comfortable.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. With the value of your cars, I think if you have that insurance, that's going to give you a little bit more confidence.
Yeah. No,
'Cause
sure.
When you're driving a house around a track, you don't want to put your house in the wall.
Well, that would assume that I'm actually at 5/10 of the capability of the car already. So I still got a lot of room, I think, to go.
But you let me drive your 992 GT3 RS at the end of last year on the track, and it was like, even for me, like I feel like I'm an advanced driver, but as you kind of go from a 950 wheel horsepower car to a car that has 500 horsepower, the limits are unbelievable in the corners,
Yeah,
the arrow
yeah,
and stuff. Like you literally have to go through an entire new
Right.
training set. So it's like any car you go in like that, you got to relearn it and
No, it's a fair point.
figure the brake, because the braking zones are different. You got a car that's 1,000 pounds lighter, it has better brakes, and the arrow is
Yeah.
unbelievable on
Yeah.
those cars. So it's just trusting the arrow, and I think that's the biggest thing that you see on the new RS is like, hey, how much arrow it has, how much can you trust it? Even with the 500, like moving my wing, it gave me more downforce. So it's
Right.
like you just continually push it until you're like, gets you to that next level.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I think the aero piece of performance driving, or at least road track, road course driving. Is it road course? Or am I saying that right?
Track, yeah.
Track, yeah.
Like,
Like I even read it on forums. Like you really have to have you have to have a lot of courage
yes.
to get over the hurdle of trusting the downforce. Because on the 3RS, the downforce really doesn't kick in until 90, 125 miles per hour. I think at 125 miles per hour, there's 795 or 800 pounds, or a little over 800 pounds of downforce,
This is just mind-boggling.
which is crazy. At VMAX, I think, which is 183 on that car, it's almost 1,900 pounds. It is the Miata. The Miata is
Miata's
actually
on top
sitting
of
on
the
top
roof.
of the car, pushing it down. And in order to trust that, I mean, I'm personally hitting speeds into corners that I don't feel it's even like I'm
and I
capable
think
of.
that you get into that, like you have to be such more of an advanced driver, because like with those cars you got the diff bias, you have all the different
Yeah, the
traction control
compression,
settings, you
yeah.
got to have DRS where you're hitting the wing. I mean, when you look at an F1 driver and they're going on the track, there's like 100 different buttons. If you watch them, they're turning their differential bias in every corner. You got,
Jeez.
your mode. They're like switching engine modes. They're going, regenning. They have to do all the different, hitting all that stuff. So
Right.
Most of us have a car. You just go out and drive, and you brake, gas.
Right.
Be aware.
Right.
But when you all of a sudden have more inputs, I think that's going to be a big thing for you. It's like you coming out of the corner, hitting the DRS, learning to do that stuff because you're so.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a learning experience. But again, that's how you get those crazy times with.
Right.
Because we were talking about the other day, I have a, 970 wheel horsepower car, and it's funny because in my 3RS, it's like it's literally half the horsepower,
Right.
but it's like pretty close to the same time.
Similar
So it just
time,
shows
yeah.
you how much weight, power, aero, all that stuff plays a big
You
factor.
can get to the finish line in a lot of different ways
Yes,
at the same
100%.
time.
and it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, yeah. And there are different experiences, which
Yes.
I think we'll talk a little bit about today is, the different experiences we've had with the cars that we've driven. I know you've had a whole bunch of different cars on the track. I've had the pleasure to drive passenger seat with you on a whole bunch of those. But, what I know you had your E36. You said last time on a parade lap, which was
Yes.
kind of a glorified where you burnt your brakes out.
Exactly.
But what would you say would it be, at least from when I've known you, the 350?
350 was like
Was your
the
first-
like, getting out and
Right.
going
That's
after
the
like,
Mustang
lap times and stuff like that.
GT350, right? Yep.
And I think where I did it wrong, where maybe you guys can learn from it, is like everybody has this mentality of like, I want to get this car. And for me, it's always been, how fast can I make it accelerate? Because everybody thinks the faster you can accelerate, the faster you
Right.
go, the better lap times you have, which couldn't be more far from the truth. And if I could go back to that era, I would have just kept it NA. And really, for me, it's just like anything. Like
Right.
you want to perfect what you have first and then grow on it, because like I put that thing made 1,000 horsepower, like 1,000 horsepower tire. I mean, I was going 186 miles an hour at Road America, which is just mind-boggling.
Nice.
Like it's just
Probably not appropriate in that car.
No, I'm gonna be honest with the experience I had at that time. Like it might have been a little
Yeah,
overkill,
you
but
probably should've
I
said
still
that.
kept it together. But it was like you'd end up losing sight of what's important: the braking zones, turn in, apex, all that stuff.
Right.
Where I really became a better driver is when I got my BMW M3.
The CS. Was it
Not
the
the
CS?
CS. So I had an M3, like a F80 M3.
Yes, that's right. The four-door.
The
Yes.
reason behind that is when I blew up my 350.
Right. You had a track day. And we
I
to
had a
get
track
one.
day within 24
Yeah.
hours. I went down to Illinois, bought the car,
Yes.
came back, had it on the track.
Yes.
Literally 18 hours later.
Yes.
I was on the track. It was
I remember
hilarious. Yeah. So that. But,
Those are capable cars.
but that car was great because
Yeah.
it's, again, it wasn't overkill, but I was able to just get out and drive. And we have a video on our YouTube, and it's just like you can see our progression because you see but being able to just go out and drive, and that's what I'll 100% recommend. Any car you can get that can go out, be reliable, you don't have to worry about the brakes. You can just go out and drive.
Right.
Way more fun than
Right.
I had in my 1,000 horsepower 350 because I had to watch my air fuels. I had to watch my, how much boost I was making based on whatever
Right.
the temperature was. Get a car that's literally you can go out and have fun. And like an M3 is a good car. You just have to make sure your brakes are set up right. But yeah, just get something reliable.
Well, that's what's nice about some of these out-of-the-box, call it sports cars. I wouldn't call them track cars, but your BMW 3 Series, your...
Yeah. Luke has that 340 That's a
Right.
really good car.
Really good car.
And that's something that's, not too crazy expensive. He went out, he had not a lot of track experience. He went out with us and had a really good track
But
day,
you
had
go
a lot
back
of fun.
to you go back to the Mustangs. You
Yeah.
mentioned last time that even just a base GT 5.0.
Yep.
We have a lot of folks in our group running that car,
Yep.
running great times, learning to drive
In the
incredibly
220s,
well
yeah.
in the 220s. You have the Camaro.
Yeah.
I think is a capable car on the track.
Yep.
Even a Corvette, although I know there's some cooling issues and things, but hey, it's a capable car to learn on the track. It's
Yeah.
not a slow car, down the straights. There's a whole bunch of cars, even some of the Japanese cars, the BRZ. Is it the BRZ?
Yeah.
Or the
The Supra.
the GR86?
GR86, yeah.
GR86, look at it, yeah. Like some of those cars, the Supra.
Yep. Those
You
are
see
good
them all
cars.
out there. Oh, great car.
Justin, who's working for us now, he has a Supra.
Yeah,
He
he has a
wants to
Supra.
get out in the track, and a lot of those are really lightweight. So I think that gets into a lot of people getting into this stuff. If you got a 500 like mine with a 900 package, yes, it can do 216. Probably this year, I'm hoping for sub 215. But
Right.
literally, you're going through brakes and tires when you're a 4,000-pound car. You get those lightweight cars like the Supras and stuff. You can do a whole track, and even with the Porsches,
A
they
fun
don't really
track.
wear it. They don't wear
No.
the brakes or the tires really that much.
Right.
Um,
No, that's the point. Like some of these cars, we always want to. Your car is getting to a point where it's, trailer to and from the track because of
yeah,
just the
'cause
amount
I
of
have
power
so
that
much
you have.
stuff. I have,
And
I
you're
have
running
3 sets of
slicks.
wheels.
But most of the cars we just mentioned, if not all of them, you can drive to the track, have a lot of fun there, and then drive them back.
And it's funny though you mentioned that. Like when we go to Blackhawk, I still drive my
sure.
my 900 package.
Yeah.
I drive it I drive it there, race it all day, and bring it back.
Bring it
And I
back.
would arguably say that little short track cooks the brakes and tires worse than Road America,
Yeah, it does.
because it's just like you're never having a
Yeah,
chance
it
to
does.
cool the brakes and all that stuff, but still fun. And yeah, I think the lap times we're able to do that, like people that couldn't fathom
No,
that
no.
4,000-pound thing.
Yeah, I think we mentioned lap times a lot because as you drive more, it's kind of a barometer of kind of where you're at and what you're chasing, and kind of demonstrates the progress you're making.
Yeah, and I think.
But I
some
think
of-
you have to be careful for folks who are new out
New,
there, getting out there, hearing
I've
times
seen-
that are.
Because what happens is this happens all the time. And I've seen it with people with GT500s, Corvettes, different things like that. They get a car that has the 760 horsepower. The car is very
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah.
I proved that with doing a 223 on a bone stock one at Road America. But you get people out there that feel they have the experience to do the full laps. They get in a crowd with me and stuff, and I unfortunately had this with somebody. They're in there and they're, trying not,
Yeah.
they're trying to stay ahead because again, there's some ego involved in this stuff. But if I could recommend, is just leave the ego at the door, let the faster guys by, and try to learn something by following the lines. Because what happens is you end up pushing too hard. Because a lot of these high-speed like corners at Road America, you get too far into them. There's no way of getting out other than hitting a wall, and then
Right,
you're
right.
spending
There's not a
the
lot of
entire
room.
winter getting
Right.
your car back together, and it's just not.
Yeah. One thing we don't have, which I think is something we should think about investing, and I think I do, whenever, and we'll talk, we're going to COTA here in, 6 or 8 weeks, which is a new track for both of us.
Yeah.
We don't have a sim.
Right.
I think it adds value.
Yeah.
I think it can add value to those, if you're going to a track that you're unfamiliar with, to get familiar with it. I watch YouTube videos or any sites of videos that I possibly can, just imagining myself on the track. But I think a sim is not a bad, if you have it, it's not a bad thing to help you get better at
And
driving.
I think
on the track.
everybody's gonna be different. I think some people like the sim, some people just
Right.
get out there and just want to do it. I think like I have confidence to a fault where I just think I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna pull a teen lap in my
Right.
first
Or
session,
what-
but
you'll
I just
be pushing the,
yeah,
the record
exactly,
laps.
exactly. But
Yeah.
that's just like, for me, it's just like when you get out there. I've done some sim stuff, and it's kind of correlated to
Mm-hmm.
I think you learn like the track and where it is, but once you get out there and you have all the
Right.
people around you, I think
Right.
I think just learning the corners and
Sure,
where it is.
sure.
But I
But
think
you
it's
haven't
good.
you haven't driven. So we're going to COTA.
Yeah.
You haven't driven COTA yet. I haven't driven COTA yet. You're taking the Porsche to the COTA,
Yeah.
which you haven't driven yet either.
On track.
So it's kind of a double whammy for you.
Exactly.
So you get to experience
My
an
hope-
incredible car
My
at an
hope
incredible
is-
track.
Yeah, my hope is I had that 991.2 turbo on track a lot. And I was able to learn, I literally had that. I had it where I got that thing to the max.
You had
I
slicks
feel-
on that car
Yeah, I
for
had
a
slicks
little
on that
while.
too, where I pushed that to max. So I kind of understand with the rear wheel steer how it acts. I just think with the more downforce and the trackability, the rawness of the RS, that hopefully will give me a baseline of how I can control the car.
Right.
But I think that there's going to be a lot of commitment to trusting Aero even in mine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not what you have in the new 992, but it's going to be a learning thing. But for me, it's like, and this is like coming from some like us that are advanced drivers. What I'll try to do at Coda is find somebody I know that has doing these good lap
Yes.
times, and I'll try to get behind them. Because for me, it's like I know what my car can do. I know enough. Following somebody that's very experienced is a really big help.
But that's a great point. That's also another good point. When you go to a driving school, or even if you're a beginner taking beginner class, one of the exercises they always do, at least in my experience,
Lead- lead
is a
follow.
lead follow.
Yep.
Lead follow gives you a sense, because usually, of course, it'll be an instructor or an experienced driver leading, but they'll start off gradual and they'll pick up speed lap after lap, and they show you, most importantly, the line.
The one thing I will say though is like the lead follow. I've seen it, and I've been a part of like being the driver to be a lead follow where people are following me on the lines. It's unbelievable how some events just grab people, they don't vet them or no.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
see the lines they're making
No,
people follow. I'm
doesn't
like,
even
dude,
make
you're setting these people up for disaster. So
Yeah.
it's like most of these tracks, if you look, there's like I think there's actually an online you can buy. It actually shows you the optimal line of
Right.
every track. So like just understanding that, but
And most HBDE events will cone the track, right? And when you think about
Yeah, for
cones
turn in.
on the track, there's usually three cones. There's the cone for the turn in. So as you're coming down the straight or you're entering a turn, there's a cone. If you're turning right, there's a cone on the left, and you want to be far left, and you want to start your turn at that cone. Then they have an apex cone, which is either an early apex is early in the turn, mid or late, and they'll put that cone where they want you to have almost inside tires on the inside of the track, not off the track, but on the inside of the track. And then they'll have a third cone, which is what you'll want to graduate to or drive out to for the exit of the turn, which are very helpful. If
they're
you
helpful but for guys like me that use the curbs, it's funny.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they'll
it's-
put it
you're-
right on the
you're-
curb, and I'll cut the cone
Oh,
in half.
that's not nice. We're here to talk about beginner track days, and you're screwing with
You gotta
everything.
find, because then the cone's over in the grass,
to me.
and they're going out that way.
If you see him on the track,
Just
then
follow
you
me.
know who's that's kicking all the cones around now. But like at the end of
Sometimes
the day,
they place them pretty close to the like.
they do. But you're four wheels off on the inside sometimes if you're going for a half a lap.
If you want the laps, huh?
But yeah, no, we hopefully utilize those cones. And then there's braking markers.
yeah.
And as I was going through
Do you
my
use them?
classes, I do. I mean, I do when I go to different tracks, because as many times as we've been on Road America, it becomes habitual more for me. But I when I'm learning a track, I'll start at a 500, and then I'll push it. Okay, I did 500 last lap. I'll go to a 400. I'll push. Oh no, I'm braking way too soon. I'll go to a 300, and then you'll get to a point where okay, I missed the turn. And then I know I can go back. It's just a way to gauge
Yeah.
for me, that I'm pushing myself in the braking. Probably still could be pushing myself harder, but it's just because I'm unfamiliar with the track. So I learn it that way. So I do use those.
I honestly, I never look at any of the at Road America. I've never looked at. I mean, I know they're there.
But you have
but-
markers. You may not look at the side, but
Exactly.
remember,
That's
like
what I
okay.
mentioned.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so the markers are like there's certain coming into turn one. I know there's an access road.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my break point.
Yes.
When I come over around into turn three, it's like there's a concrete wall on the left. There's certain things in like the pavement
Right.
changes. I had to relearn some stuff but it's more of a feel. Like I know like when I'm cresting the hill into 5,
Yes.
like where I'm at, but I'm not looking off to the right. My biggest thing, one thing you always have is always making sure you're looking at flaggers.
Yes.
Because if you're not looking at flaggers, you can go into a pretty bad situation and get in big trouble. But yeah, so I'm always, I think there's a different thing. It's like golfing. Like me, I don't ever think about things, and I just hit. And it's like when someone asks me like,
What club?
how do
choose
you do that?
You
I'm
just
like,
know the distance.
I know the distance.
Yeah.
I kind of have a feel for that
Experience.
shot. Like how do you hit with the? It's like it's just the same thing with on a track. It's just like you know, it's more of a, some people do it more of like a natural way, and
Right.
others a more methodical way. And I think most race car drivers use the markers.
Yeah.
But like for me, and you know, there's probably gonna be a time where I need to move to use those. But
I'm definitely more methodical. As I think about the COTA, us going to COTA, I'm watching videos and I'm reading what people say, and they're like, okay, you know, look for the fifth garage when you're going through turn 7, and at that point, like I'm thinking about that.
it's a lot to process.
It's a lot to
during your lap.
process.
Matt,
It's a lot to
Are you
process.
gonna have like a dop sheet on your
No, I'm
thing?
gonna
It's
have-
just like
I'm gonna have a cheat
as you're
sheet.
going through. It's like
I'm gonna have
it's
cheat
like the
sheets.
piano thing. You're
Yeah.
gonna flip. Okay, for this next turn. Oh, there's someone in front of me. Stop.
Where's that garage? Move the garage. No. But yeah, I use markers, as you do, but just in maybe a little bit different
But
way.
I think the number one thing though that we're talking about with all these markers and how late we break and all that stuff, I think that the number one thing that I could do for advice going back is learning like every car, like getting,
Right.
you know, progress your way to the mat. Like once you get, because all these everybody wants to have the next best thing and all that stuff and have all of that stuff. Go out and take your car. You know, obviously make sure the brake fluid, like we talked about before. Go to a point where you feel like, okay, this is as fast, and then you can do the changes you do. You can be like, oh, hey, I felt that, but that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise there are other people, which is fine, that they come to us with a 500 and they're like, I want what Chuck has and Jim has. Like, I want the capability of the
right.
lap time. Because it's cool, because I'll ride around. Todd won't care if I mention his name, but I instructed for Todd. I have the same. We built his car the same way as mine. I know what that car can do. He hasn't acquired what it can do yet. I was literally sitting in the side and like this was go, this was stop, and this is turn in, and this is go. I took 6 seconds off his lap time, just literally driving his car
Right,
with my
'cause
hand.
you got
He's
him past his
and
own-
I told him, I said, dude, he's like, you can go full through. I said, dude, follow my thing. I know what this car can do, and it wasn't near what I was like.
Yeah,
it wasn't
right,
to
you
my
were
level,
working
but I
within
still
his
working within his ability.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, like people, again, that's the understanding of like how unbelievable these cars are, being able to trust what they can do,
Right.
and understanding what they can do. So that's build up to what your car can
Yeah.
do. Don't try to do beyond what your car can do because the guy ahead of you is going faster,
Right.
and that's the biggest mistake.
Yeah, and don't underestimate driver skill, right?
Yeah,
Because
right.
every session or lesson that I've done, I've had the opportunity, which they'll always do, is let you go passenger seat with a pro driver or the instructor or whomever at the time, and you may feel during your lesson, whatever level you're at, that you're pushing your car. And then I feel this way sometimes when I'm with you in your car, your green car. You're like, you don't realize how much further the car can go until
Yes.
you see someone professionally drive it. Now, they're professional drivers. They're figuring out balance, their braking points. So, but you thought you were on the edge of your tires, but there was so much more edge of your tire
Oh,
left.
exactly. And then it's just like, okay, that's not.
You just
And-
learn it.
And
right?
that's a learning thing too, to
Yeah.
understand. Okay, you can tell or the feel of the tires of knowing the limit of the tire, and okay,
Right.
it's starting to skip out.
right.
You're done.
You're starting to slip.
But I think another tip, like everybody, most people talk about how fast could they get on the front stretch? How fast can you get going at turn 5? How fast can you get to Canagorda? If I was going back, I'd be more worried about, okay, where can I brake and how fast can I apex the corners and make it. You get so much more
Yeah.
out of your lap time if you hit every corner perfectly. Who cares how fast you went in the front straights? But if you brake right and you hit that apex and you accelerate
Fast
out
and
of that, exactly. Get the turns down, learn to turn, learn to hit the apexes. Because I see so many people coming to see as fast as they can go. They miss the apex, they cut off. I mean, we're talking seconds, like
Yeah, oh yeah.
that it causes you. So learn the track. But again,
And when you learn the track and you learn your car, you probably won't start with power as your first modification.
yeah,
You probably go to different tires, or you go to different brakes, or you
Tires,
go
brakes,
to different
yeah.
suspension.
but back the young self, for me, I always want power.
Yeah, you want power.
I want power,
Yeah,
go
yeah,
fast.
Of course. Well,
But it doesn't really
usually
yield
for
you
the
the best
street,
results.
that's kind of what you do, because you're not really testing the other components of
Go
your car.
tell your tires, but
Yeah,
you don't.
yeah.
You don't. Get
You're just
traction.
going stop sign to stop sign.
I think we should. If Braden pulled this up for us, we got Road and Track just came out with their top 5 rated production cars for 2023, 2024.
It was this 23. Okay.
23.
These are 23 production cars.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
20, some 24s haven't been.
Yep.
Well,
GT500 wasn't even.
Well, it wasn't they
It wasn't
stopped at
accepted
22,
22.
right? So they probably didn't have it on the list.
That to me is like, even like amongst this list, I know you have a 992 GT3 RS, but 0.1% of the population is getting that car.
Yeah, I don't know the criteria of what they're,
they're looking
here,
at.
but I think, being a fan of all cars, quite honestly, myself, I mean, I think I would love to drive these cars. I can't say much about a
I've driven a Civic Type R.
I haven't on a track. I haven't driven a Mazda MX-5 on a track, or a C06, or I drove what I've driven what I've driven. But yeah, I mean, I think like this is all personal preference. What track was this on? Do you know, Brandon? Because, or if there was a track.
I think it's just a general.
Yeah, just a general. Well, I think you're right. The first two on the list, number two, let's read the list. Like at least number 5 was the Mazda MX-5. Number 4 was the Honda Civic Type R. Number 3 was the C8 Z06. Number 2, the GT3 RS. And then their number 1 was the GT4 RS. Look, I think they're all capable cars. We have a special place in our heart for the GT500, which punches well above its weight class. You can look at any video on YouTube or top times at most big tracks throughout the U.S. and you'll see the GT500 up there on the top, and in the top third at least. Yeah. But regarding this list, I'm partial to the GT3 RS. I think to your point though, there's not a lot of people. I'm very fortunate, very fortunate, and I understand that to have one. I do drive it, and I do drive it appropriately because there's a lot of people that have these cars that don't drive it, and that's bullshit. You should give them to the people that can and will drive them.
Right.
But
I honestly like
718.
There's so much hype around that C8, but I've never seen people be able to really do good track work with it. To be honest, it's a cool car, and I get it. Just if you just want to go out and have a good fun track day, I've seen it, but I just don't see a lot of like crazy time. You know what I mean? Like for 500, you can pull times like we have done and stuff, but I don't see a lot. Even the Z06. We see people cheating on what their times are at the lap. You don't see any real like start to finish lap.
No, you would like to see like what's the Nürburgring? Nürburgring is one.
They went to the Nürburgring.
I don't know if they.
But they didn't publish it because
I'm not sure, right?
But that's where it's crazy because there's some of these cars that you'd expect to be super fast.
And I think it's not. I would imagine this is not just about the fastest lap times. It's about your experience driving, right?
Exactly.
Look, the Z06. For the value for the money, I think it's a pretty impressive car. Like the Honda Civic Type R, for the value for the money, probably an impressive car. I don't know. I haven't driven them. Still.
I just loved it because.
But it's so different. How do you put a GT3 RS on the same list as a Honda Civic Type R? I don't know. I mean, it's just a different. I don't think it's a fair comparison.
No, because could you imagine a Lamborghini SVJ?
Right.
That'd be phenomenal.
Everything
cool Lamborghinis worked really well on the track.
That'd be cool.
But, and then even a BMW, the new M3 CS or the M4 CSL. How about this? Next time, I'm going to make a list of my top 5 track cars. You make a list of your top 5 track cars. Idea. We're not going to talk about this in the next episode. Let's start with.
Let's do it.
This is what I like. I don't care. This is the.
Let's do it.
I guarantee there's a car in there that.
What I can do briefly is talk about my experience.
Right now, what of all cars that are production cars, what car would you want? Money's not an option.
Selfishly, money's not an option.
Money's not an option. Like you could take any track car. I mean,
production car,
not Max Verstappen's
like
car. Production car.
I would do a Koenigsegg for sure.
I would
be Koenigsegg.
I would 100% do the Gordon Murray T50S.
That's another car.
That car is unbelievable because you have a guy that's developed F1 cars. You have the fan car. It develops how much downforce that I think they're getting close to doing some Nürburgring tests and stuff. But those are cars that are just like literally built
But there's
F1 engines in them.
Yeah, no.
T50. It's probably
the Valkyrie, the Aston.
Those cars.
Mercedes.
The MG1 is pretty good.
The MG1. The Koenigsegg.
Hey, if we keep getting 2 million views like we got on the last one, maybe we'll be testing those things.
Right.
Honestly, if I could have any car right now for our motorsports and the direction we're going, the Mustang GTD.
That
It literally would be.
fantastic.
But like, you know, that's another thing. Is like, is Ford gonna really, you know, because there's the YouTubers that go out and drag race and do that stuff, but like, there's not a ton of track. Like, yes, there's people that go out and do track, but like someone like us, I think we'd really fit in a good spot of like testing that car.
Totally. Plus, we have experience of other cars that they are targeting.
Yes,
You know,
we have
from
those,
Porsche.
right?
You've heard them come out and say that,
Dude,
you know,
they're
publicly.
They're talking about going to a six. Their goal is like a 630s.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is just that's 20 seconds faster than the 99.2.
Yeah, that's insane.
unbelievable.
That's an incredible time. I hope they pull it off. I would hate for Ford to make those types of announcements and then come up short and not publish their time because
Yeah.
they did a 7:10.
That's what Chevy did.
But
and like,
yeah,
look at
like
this,
that would
but,
not be good.
You know,
But a GTD would be fantastic. I know you're on the list. I think we're all on the list. I think everybody out there is probably on the list watching this until they have to drop 370,000. I think it's going to be
oh yeah, well,
starting at 3.
exactly.
But yeah, no, I would love to see what that car's like. That would be fantastic. We would use it the way it should be.
Yep, and that's, you know, and we do travel to all the different. We're going to start to go to more tracks. We just bought a 28-foot enclosed trailer, Intech trailer, so that's going to get my car enclosed wherever we want.
Yeah. Nice, thanks.
Jim's now.
I'm
he's
still
seen the
going to be
trailer.
driving my cars to the track.
We got to cut to that little trailer footage to show it.
No.
But hey, it's our house. Everybody can use my house
Right,
for
okay,
at
thanks,
the
man.
track.
Thanks for
You
letting us
can
in.
come in my house.
I appreciate that.
We are going
That'll
to
be
put
nice.
air conditioning in there.
That'll be nice. I'm driving my house to the track, and you're
I live at my house is there.
You're sitting-
Exactly.
There you go.
It might be. Hey, if I buy a GTD now on top of my car, I might be living in there because
Oh.
Allie might be pretty frustrated.
That would be pretty.
But maybe I can make it work.
Why? The GTD's not that expensive, right? It's not expensive at all.
I don't know if she'd know how
No.
much it costs.
But
Will you back me out like what, 50 grand? Is that what it costs?
well,
1/3?
You're paying too much. But what else, Braden? You got on here?
I think the cool thing, I think Circuit of the Americas is something that we're gonna, you know, we're excited to. We're gonna go and experience.
I'm
that.
anxious about that, and
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna trailer down. Well, some of us are gonna trailer down. I'm gonna trailer down. We're gonna convoy. There's 3 of us.
Do we need
trailers
it?
going
Should we
down.
explain what's happening?
No,
with it?
no. I think they're gonna hate you for that because.
They're gonna hate me already. I do generate hate with a green car because like people know it's coming and it's like I've
No, you could tell them it's because of back surgery.
yes, I had back surgery in November. I'm flying down. 2 of my technicians are gonna drive my car down. I'm gonna fly down, but I'm probably gonna ride back because we're gonna hit
you're
up
gonna ride
Eagles
back.
Canyon.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that many.
No,
hours
we're
to
gonna be
drive.
trekking down 20 hours, trailering cars, and Chuck's gonna fly over us, dropping peanuts. While he's
I
flying over us.
like I like the little pretzels.
The
better
pretzels?
than peanuts. Do they even serve peanuts on planes anymore?
The mixed.
Actually, I think I might
pretzel
have a
mix.
meal for that flight.
Thanks, dude. Okay, let's move on. Frustrating, but yeah, no, I'm excited to go there. I'm anxious to go there.
But we
It'll be a
also
new track
talked
for
about
us.
Tail of the Dragon, potentially
Mhm.
doing like an actual like
Road
regular
Atlanta.
group and like going down. You did it the other year.
Yeah, I did Road Atlanta
Barber.
and Barber Motorsports Parks. 2 excellent tracks. Highly recommend. We need to get out west. We need to do VIR.
If anybody's watching, let us know where we should come. If it's in your neck of the woods, if you're not in the area, we'd love to come out. And like Coda, we have
Shelby
quite a few
Flyer.
people. Shelby Flyer,
Crabber.
Porsche.
Porsche.
We have these guys that we
Friends through YouTube. Friends.
funny like people tend to gravitate and
Mm-hmm.
find each other. So we're gonna go have fun out there. And
So cool. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for the time today. Good conversation. See if there's any other topics that we'd be interested. Braden, appreciate the pre-work on this, and
let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about.
yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks.